Good morning and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coulter Reed, your productivity coach, here to help you make productivity work for you. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to step back and I wanted to share with you a poem that I first found about 20 years ago. It's Christmas Eve on the Desert by Harrison R. Merril. And then this is a poem that I've shared before on the blog, but I wanted to share it with you today because we're a couple days before Christmas, and then I'll spend a little bit of time just discussing it because the poem uses a metaphor for personal growth that I really enjoy, and I think of a lot of things kind of in these terms. So, but before we excuse me. But before the poem, allow me to set the stage. I grew up in Wyoming. Now, when most people hear this, they give me one of three responses. The first response is, "Oh, Wyoming, no state here." Yeah, I saw that. Back in the 90s, Garfield had a TV show for a while. And there was one episode where there was a segment where they talked about how Wyoming doesn't actually exist. There was just a surveying error as they were mapping out the country, and rather than fix it, they decided it would be easier to just call this empty space Wyoming and just go with it. Wyoming, according to the bit, is an old Indian word that means no state here, and so it's just kind of a running joke. There's only 49 states. The second response that I'll get is, "Oh yeah, Wyoming. I drove through Wyoming once on my way to someplace that's not Wyoming." Sure, I get it. A lot of people drive through Wyoming. Very few people drive to Wyoming. And if they do, then I tend to get the third response from them. "Oh, I've been to Yellowstone. It's so beautiful. Tell me, did you have problems with the bears in the woods near your house as you were growing up?" Well, the thing about bears is they just have a bad PR for them. Bears are actually cuddly, adorable creatures. If they come running up to you, they just want to give you a great big bear hug. I mean, think about it. We didn't make stuffed animals called teddy kittens or teddy puppies. No, they're teddy bears. See, the truth has been hiding in plain sight all this time. But no, really, before one of you goes out and gets mauled by a bear, no, the truth is Wyoming just doesn't have many trees. The ones that we do have are kind of all up in the northwestern corner of the state. Yellowstone's hogging them all. The northeastern part of the state, it's all grassland. No mountains, no trees, just rolling hills of grass. It actually looks a lot like Nebraska, which is another state that people drive through, not to. But the southwestern part of the state, where I grew up, is just, it's a desert. There's no trees. We just have sagebrush. And sagebrush is not sage like you have in your spice shelf. Sage is a Mediterranean herb that goes well on potatoes and makes marinara sauce delicious. Sagebrush has one purpose, and that is just to hold dirt in place. And in Wyoming, that's a very important part of the ecosystem. So when I was a teenager, we would go camping out in the middle of this sagebrush expanse of a desert. Didn't matter if it was summer or if it was winter. We would go camping the first week of February when it gets cold enough that traffic lights stop working. That's somewhere around 15 or 20 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. And we would go camping and we would huddle in our nylon tents, getting whipped around by the wind, snuggled up in our little sleeping bags that weren't really rated for those temperatures. And the only way that we could tell how much of the night we had survived was if we stuck our head outside the tent flap and we looked at where the moon was. Because when the moon has moved about this far, that's about 3 hours right there. So we learned to tell time according to how far the moon had moved. And let me tell you, at 2 o'clock in the morning in the first week of February, it is it is cold. It looks cold. It's very still, even when the wind's blowing. It's a strange effect. It's very still. It's very calm. It's very peaceful, and that stillness with you know the empty desert with the clumps of sagebrush and the snow drifted in between the sagebrush, and a three-quarter moon overhead just bathing everything in an eerie, pale, cold light. That's the desert that I think of when I read Christmas Eve on the Desert. Not the endless dunes of sand, Lawrence of Arabia desert, but this cold Southwest Wyoming desert. So, Christmas Eve on the Desert by Harrison R. Merril. Tonight, not one alone am I, but three. The lad I was, the man I am, and he who looks adown the coming future years and wonders at my sloth. His hopes and fears should goad me to the manly game of adding to the honor of my name. I'm fate to him, that chap that's I grown old. No matter how much stocks and land and gold I save for him, he can't buy back a single day on which I built a pattern for his way. I, in turn, am product of that boy who seldom thought of after selves. His joy was in the present. He might have saved me some woe, had he but thought. The ways that I must go are his. He marked them all for me, and I must follow, and so must he, my future self, unless I save him. Save. Somehow that word, deep down, a precious thought is stirred. Savior. Yes. I'm Savior to that me, that thoughtful after person whom I see. The thought is staggering. I sit and gaze at my two other selves, joint keepers of my days. Master of Christmas, you dared to bleed and die that others might find life. How much more I should willingly give up my present days to lofty deeds, seek out the ways to build a splendid life. I should not fail to set my feet upon that starbound trail for him, that after self. You said that he who'd lose his life should find it. And I know you found a larger life, still live and grow. Your doctrine was, so I've been told, serve man. I wonder if I'm doing all I can to serve. Will serving help that older me to be the man he'd fondly like to be? Last night I passed a shack where hunger lurked. I must go back and take a lamb. Is that the message of the star, whose rays, please God, can shine this far? Tonight, not one alone am I, but three. The lad I was, the man I am, and he who is my future self. Nay, more. I am his Savior, and that thought makes me four. Master of Christmas, that star of thine shines clear. Bless thou the four of me out here. Three selves, our past, our present, and our future. Now, our past self is a memory. It's everything that we've done. Every action we've taken has led us up to this point. And as we look back and think about our past self, think about who we were kind of an idiot, weren't we? We were really awkward when we were younger. We didn't know what we were doing. We were still figuring things out, figuring out how the world worked, figuring out who we want to be. Good thing we're past all that awkwardness now. The truth is, the same way that we view our past self, our future self is standing there looking at who we are now with the same smile on their face. Oh, bless them. So be kind to your past self, because you're still you. You're still going through it. Now, our future self is an idea. It's everything that we want to happen. Our goals, our dreams, our ambitions. It's the reality that we want to live when we get older, that we want to grow into. And our present self is a choice. It's the junction where our past somehow, amazingly, miraculously, transforms into our future, as our future is becoming our past. And there's two ways that it's a choice that I want to talk about. The first is that the events of the past are fixed, but they're open to interpretation. This is something that Personality Isn't Permanent by Ben Harding goes into. He spends a lot of time talking about how while the events are fixed, the meaning that we assign to those events can change. And that is really just as powerful as if we could go back and actually rewrite the past, because we can change how we feel about it. We can change what the past means to us. You know, who we are today, our habits, our lifestyle, our personality, the things that we like and dislike when we look in the mirror, all of that is formed by how we feel about our past as much as the events of the past. Now, the past does have a certain momentum to it, and it's a very real momentum. If we're not careful, then that momentum from the past is going to push us in basically the same direction going into the future. Now, there's a little bit of decay to any system, and so even if we have good habits, we're going to falter a little bit and things will slide downhill. We still need to be constantly renewing ourselves, trying to improve ourselves in order to stay on that starbound trail that leads us to the future self that we want to be. Now, our past self and our present self, we don't necessarily always have the best of relationships, do we? Our present self often blames our past self for everything that's wrong, and that's very disempowering, because when everything that's wrong is the fault of someone else, whether it's somebody else or just ourselves in the past, that takes away from us any of the responsibility that we have to change the direction for the future. Everything is their fault. We're helpless to do anything about it. An example of this is, pick some trauma that we've experienced. Every one of us goes through traumas, to varying degrees. And we can choose to be terrified of life because this bad thing happened, or we can choose to learn from it and, become a support to others. The same events happened. There's no change to that, but we choose how we interpret the past and what we're going to do about it. And that has a huge change on the direction that we go in the future. Our past can also work to actively sabotage our present efforts, because we have these grand ideas about what we're going to do going forward, the things that we want to be doing, the things we want to accomplish. And this whole time that we're here dreaming and coming up with these fantastic ideas that we get excited about, our past self is back there saying, I can't do that. I can't handle that. And so it tries to put the brakes on. It tries to derail us. It tries to hold us back. It actively collaborates with fear, giving it, feeding fear inside information about how to get to us and how to hold us back. But the thing your present self gets to say is, hey, it's okay, past. You don't have to do this. You're not going to be doing this. It's that guy. It's the future. It's our future self who's going to do these things. And here's what I am doing now to prepare for that future self who can handle these things, who can accomplish all of those wonderful ideas. So it's okay. We got this. The second choice that we get to make is, what are we going to do today? Because all of the goals and hopes and dreams and the vision that we have for the future, those are ideas. And time passes. Gradually, those ideas from the future come at us, and we have a choice to make. Either we are going to take one of those ideas and we're going to act on it, and it will become a memory. It will become a part of us. It's something that we've done. And it's something that builds our life into, that exalted vision that we have for who we want to be in the future. Or we hang back, we do nothing, we listen to that insider information that fear got from our past, and we let the opportunity to act on that idea just slip by and become a regret. It's our choice. Today is when we make the transformation. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. That's still in the future. That's still an idea. We can make plans today that will set our tomorrow self up for success. But when tomorrow gets here, it's still our present self that has to act on that plan. We have to implement that plan. The plan sets us up for success, but the plan is not the success itself. Today is where we make the choice. The choice is yours. Carpe diem. Thank you so much for being here today. If you'd like to know more, there's a link in the show notes below. You can check out my blog. I've been blogging for over 8 years now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Or sign up for my newsletter. You can email me back, or you can email me a question, and I'll get back to you. But I am Coulter Reed. I'm your productivity coach. I'm here to help you make productivity work for you. Thank you. Have a great day, and Merry Christmas.